Manchester United selling players this summer wouldn't be a luxury, it's an absolute necessity. So what's actually happening with the Clearout? Let me run you through all the reliable updates we've had on every potential exit this summer and bring you up to date, and make sure you do subscribe to United People's TV, Man United news you can trust this summer. So we all know how important sales are to Manchester United's summer. Arguably, I would say more important than it's ever been. Will that Clearout come? We've spoken about it. I'm going to run you through everything. I'm going to talk about 10 players, all right? All the players I think in an ideal world would leave United this summer. They're probably not all going to leave. I'm going to bring you the latest on all of them and sort of maybe the things that could happen and change in the next, I don't know, week or so with any of these players and the clubs they're linked to that could push those transfers forward. Let's run into it. Run into it? Let's jump into it. Probably not best to run into it. It's a bit pointless. Garnacho. I think when it comes to player sales this summer, this is the one that United can likely make the most money from, right? We know what happened with everything. We know what the situation is. He's being linked with, look, 3 Premier League clubs, Arsenal, Chelsea, no further interest from them. Bayer Leverkusen, now that Wirtz has been sold and Frimpong, they are flush with cash, could well happen. And of course, Napoli, we know, came in with a bid worth 50 million euros in January. It's whether or not Antonio Conte wants to come back in for him. Now, the Times are reporting that Man United want 50 million for Garnacho, and I think that's the minimum, really, that we should get for him. I don't care that he's fallen out with the manager. Garnacho has really good sale value. We shouldn't be selling him cheap just for the sake of selling him. We should be getting the right price. But as it stands, Napoli is the only one who's sort of firmed up any interest. And still, at that point, it's a little bit whiffy. And with Onana, I know that for a lot of you, Onana and getting rid of Onana and replacing Onana is high up your list of priorities this summer. It wasn't for me a few months ago, but it kind of is now. I would probably still put number 8 as a bigger priority. But this was the only sort of word that we've had on Onana so far. From The Athletic saying that a new goalkeeper could come, but right now, and it's from Laurie Whitwell about a week or two ago, suggesting that United are prioritising other positions. So as it stands, Onana is staying. I've seen nothing really linking him with a big move away anywhere. And nor with Bayern. This isn't one where United are going to get a lot of money, but I would have hoped that United were going to replace our number 1 and number 2 goalkeeper this summer. Tom Heaton staying as third. I'm fine with that. But no word on any interest in Bayern so far. Now, with Rasmus Højlund, we know where the strongest links are. The strongest links have come from Inter, and that's been pretty consistent over the last 2 weeks. Now, something that has changed with Inter in the last couple of days is Christian Chivu has been named as their new manager, replacing Simone Inzaghi, who went to Al Hilal. And I think Kolarov has been named as his assistant manager in the last 24 hours. So there's been a lot of managerial change at Inter. That's probably delaying anything that's happening with Højlund and Inter. But now if Chivu's settled in and he does want to push a move for Højlund, I would expect something to happen in the next couple of weeks. Antony and Real Betis. Yeah. We know that Real Betis won him. This is from The Athletic and Mark Critchley saying that they remain interested in signing him. That hasn't changed. He had a really good loan spell there. But it's all about whether or not Real Betis can afford him. And something that can change that is this. Johnny Cardozo could well be on his way to Atletico Madrid. They've had this sort of agreement for about a week now, and nothing's actually happened. So maybe I'm just kind of speculating here on this one. Maybe Real Betis just have no intention of paying the amount that we want for Antony, but maybe they're going to be looking at that as using the Cardoso money for Antony. So once that move for Cardoso is completed to Atletico Madrid, maybe that's where we'll see some movement on Antony and Real Betis. Rashford. We know where Rashford wants to go, right? Rashford is now back in training. He's putting this out on his Instagram account. I think it can only be seen as a good thing for United. He's not injured anymore. He's training, and that's fine. He wants to move to Barcelona. 40 million is the price, okay? Hansi Flick's actually spoken about him. I think Barca have had a move for Luis Diaz pushed away. So if Rashford is an alternative to Diaz and they are going to be signing a left winger, then that's, again, good news for United. But he's back in sort of pre-season training, getting his fitness back. Let's see what goes on next. But right now, no movement on Rashford. And this bloke, the only movement that we've had on Sancho is him coming closer to Man United. Chelsea saying, hell no, we don't want this guy. Here's £5 million so you can take him off our hands because he won't agree on your contract with us. This is from The Athletic, okay? Saying that Dortmund have expressed their interest in signing him. They're in the process of rebuilding and see him as a potential number 10 option behind Guirassy. Guirassy, not Guirassy. Who's that? Never heard of him before. But then we've had Dortmund's director saying, look, We got other priorities. Sancho, yeah, we'd always talk with him. He's nice, isn't he? But nah, we've got other priorities. So Sancho, I really don't see much interest coming from many clubs. There could potentially be interest from Saudi clubs. Can't rule that out. And if money is the driver, and when you think about the fact that, and I've said this so many times, I'll say it again, when you think about the fact that he's just turned his back on what was supposed to be his boyhood club to play in the Premier League and the Champions League and Chelsea just because they wouldn't pay his wages, money clearly is a bigger priority to Sancho than maybe your average footballer. And maybe a Saudi move could be possible. And then we move to a few players that we've heard, absolutely nothing on, really. Shaw, I've said it throughout the season, I would be surprised if somebody came in and paid cold hard cash for Luke Shaw this summer. If United are able to move him on, and bear in mind that we've got Dorgu in, we've got Diego Leon coming in, and we've got Harry Mas. I think we're fine down that left-hand side. Depends on, I suppose, what happens with Lisandro Martinez's fitness and whether Luke Shaw could be used as a left-sided centre-back, but Aiden Heaven broke through. Just move Luke Shaw on. But I think the only way we're going to do it is a loan with obligation. As it stands, no interest in him. And PSV, at this moment in time, so Malacia, of course, moved there on loan for the second half of the season. Won the Dutch title with PSV. No word on whether they're going to be taking up that option. I believe it was around about 8 million euros, but there's been no movement yet. And seeing as there's been no movement yet, I kind of would expect there not to be any. But other than PSV, I haven't heard any links with Malacia leaving. And Casemiro's back in the Brazil setup. Ancelotti's taken over. He's played, I think, 90 minutes in both of the opening 2 games for Brazil. I think they drew 0-0 with Ecuador and beat Paraguay 1-0. I think that's 2 results. No word on any exit for Casemiro. I think the only clubs conceivably who can afford his wages are Saudi clubs. It's whether or not I suppose it all just depends on whether Casemiro wants to dig his heels in. Not even dig his heels in. And see out his contract. And it also depends on what United do in the market for midfielders. I still would like United to move Casemiro, and I've made that abundantly clear for quite a while now. I think that money can be better reinvested, but no word on any interest in Casemiro from any Saudi clubs. And that really is a full sort of update on everything so far. There's still so much for United to do. There's 10 players there. We've got Garnacho, we've got Onana, Bayindir, Højlund, Anthony, Rashford training, Sancho, Shaw, Malacia, and Casemiro. United haven't sold anybody yet. We've been focusing clearly on the Cunha and Mbeumo situations. But that's just to bring you up to date on sort of what is reliably being reported elsewhere. That's sure there's loads more whispers, but I'll bring you updates as and when United actually begin this clear out. There's so much to do.